Welcome, everyone. We're going to give you a few minutes for people to join, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Welcome, everyone. Maybe we will wait for a couple more minutes before we get started. We're waiting for a couple more people to join. Okay, let's get this started. Welcome, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Devinder Sohi, and thank you for joining our CPM Express webinar. I run Astral Solutions Group, a CPM solutions and services company based in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, and we provide services across North America. We are in the CPM space, as as I mentioned, that I have over 20 plus years experience in EPM space and completed over 100 plus projects as a team in various industries. We do provide advisory, implementation, training, and support services. And now I will have a Steve. Because today our the meeting agenda is to meet with our speakers about Astral Solutions Group, what CPM overview and this demo is about, and what are the different one stream deployment strategy, and then Q&A at the end. Next slide, Steve. Yeah, I'm Devinder Sohi, as I mentioned. And I have over 20 plus years experience in the CPM space and completed over 100 plus projects as a team in various industries. We do advisory, implementation, training, and support services. And I will talk about more Astral Solutions Group when we get to the next slide. I will introduce Steve Cromwell. He will be presenting the solution on the CPM Express. Steve, it's up to you.
Hey everybody, Steve Cromwell. I'm the go-to-market enablement lead for our partners and alliances. I'm excited to be presenting with Devinder on the CPM Express solution today.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, so in terms of as the Astral Solutions Group, we do installations, implementation, deployment, support services, training, and advisory solutions. We provide financial close and consolidation, planning, budgeting, forecasting, profitability, cost reporting, and we also do account reconciliation and a people planning. That's a marketplace solution with the OneStream. We have completed over 100 plus projects in various industries as a team. And in terms of, industries wise, we have done quite a bit of work on manufacturing, construction, education, and REIT. And then we also started doing AI work, which OneStream is heavily investing on the AI side in OneStream, and we started doing AI implementation in OneStream for our clients as well. Why companies they choose Astral Solutions Group? We have a CPM experts. All of our CPM consultants are there certified with average 10 plus years of experience. We make sure that we complete all projects on time and on budget, all approachable. We are just a phone call away. Our solution architect, in reality, if we are doing consolidation, you need a unique skill set, or your budgeting planning, there's a different skill set is needed. We have a tailored talent for each CPM project, and we make sure that our clients are 100% satisfied, and we are trusted OneStream partner. So now it's I will pass it to Steve, so he will go over OneStream CPM Express demo. Steve, it's over to you.
Thanks, Devinder. Okay, so I'm going to start by talking a little bit about the OneStream platform and our overall value and differentiators, and then jump into a demonstration of the CPM Express application, while talking about that plus some of the other deployment strategies that our customers are taking advantage of. Okay, so just to kind of kick off OneStream and who we are, what we're seeing is that the office of the CFO is being asked to do more, and they're being asked to do more because we live in a very data-driven world. So whereas traditional finance was focused on things like monthly financial statements, annual budgets, the modern office of the CFO is being able to leverage this ocean of data to do more things like operational reporting or ESG or AI-enabled forecasting. So with all of these changing needs within any organization, CPM and beyond has become even more important. And traditionally speaking, when it comes to CPM, there have been too many pieces going into most companies' technology stack when it comes to this kind of stuff. You could have multiple solutions around close and consolidation, multiple planning, budgeting, and forecasting tools, multiple reporting tools. And the issue is with this many pieces, along with all of the operational systems that exist within an organization, you're just not getting the right data when you need it. You're getting different answers to the same question. And it's creating a tremendous amount of both work and technical debt to maintain systems like this. So this is the landscape that we saw when OneStream was created. And we've truly solved this by being a single application or a single application or a single platform that enables our customers to house anything CPM and beyond within one application. We take data from any source system within your organization, ERPs, operational systems, CRM, HR systems, whatever you want as part of your financial model. We can bring that in, become that financial source of truth, and then use all that uniquely harmonized data across multiple functions. So all of the close and consolidation, FP&A, reporting, all of this can be done in one single application, regardless of how complex your organization is. So in that spirit, over 70% of our customers have used OneStream to replace multiple solutions, and the solutions that we're seeing replaced go anywhere from point solutions like Workday Adaptive and Blackline to legacy suites like Oracle and SAP, all the way down to the manual tasks that are done at an Excel level. I think we've replaced Excel in nearly every single opportunity we've ever had, in addition to some of these legacy and point solutions. So how do we do this? Well, it really comes down to the OneStream value, the OneStream message. We built this so that our customers don't need, erroneous click. They don't need to stitch systems together or don't need to like juggle the disconnected tools. And you don't have to trade agility for compliance. We've unified everything finance needs intelligently in 3 pillars. The first one being one core finance for close, consolidations, planning, reporting, and compliance. The second one is going to be around operational analytics, where we can layer on the granular, fast-moving details to connect real-time ops with finance. And then the third is going to be an AI foundation to forecast accurately, flag risks, surface insights. It's not, it's not a bundle of different solutions. It's one single purpose-built platform for modern finance. So that first pillar, core finance, it's foundational. It's designed to deliver end-to-end financial control across the consolidation process, the close process, planning, reporting, and audit. Core is where trust in all of the organizational numbers will be established. It's the financial backbone that ensures everything else from agility to AI is going to be accurate, aligned, secure, as well as auditable. So these are the functions that you see here that your organization must do. And then once you build this core, then you'll be able to do more. Now, this is the pillar, operational analytics, that allows you to tell the story of what's happening in your organization. Now, this pillar connects transactional, fast-moving operational data directly to all of the financial intelligence, which is ultimately going to enable finance teams to monitor performance, model scenarios, and respond to the constant changes in the market. Operational analytics is going to empower finance to steer the business in real time without having to compromise audit, control, or trust in your data. And then the third pillar is finance AI. Now, our sensible AI solutions are in use and delivering value at dozens of the world's largest brands. The OneStream Sensible AI portfolio unifies both quantitative as well as agentic capabilities into the solutions that are already purpose-built for finance. So it's going to be able to surface these AI solutions within the workflows that customers already rely on OneStream to deliver, such as account recs or planning. And it unifies these AI solutions on the same OneStream that you already trust without having to manage your AI endeavors in third-party systems. Now, there's 3 core differentiators when we talk about OneStream. The first, we're uniquely unified, meaning not only can we unify all of the data within an organization as it relates to finance, we can also start unifying function. So again, being able to do everything in one platform without having to have different technologies to stitch together where you're getting kind of different results, it's a huge component of this. And in that, we've come up with certain technology enablers to enable us to do this, such as the ability to harmonize data across multiple systems without having to create multiple models. You can have all of your data living in one model through OneStream. 2, we're infinitely extensible, which simply means with OneStream, the more you do, the more you can do. So once you start in the OneStream journey, maybe you implement consolidations and annual budgets, and then you want to do more, like adding account recs or AI-enabled forecasting to the mix. You can go ahead and do that without having to go out and get new technology. You can continuously build on the platform, whether it's through building your own solutions or having partners like Astral Solutions build solutions for you, or even going into our solution exchange and pull down already pre-built solutions as well. With OneStream, you can continuously do more and more with the platform. And then thirdly, AI powered. Now, today, that's predominantly in the form of what we call Sensible AI Forecast, which is a time series forecasting solution that drives both greater accuracy as well as greater efficiency in the forecast process. But as we move forward into 2025 and 2026, we're actually creating more AI capabilities in the platform. One is AI Studio, which is simply a way to get AI functions everywhere, surfacing them in your already existing workflows, such as anomaly detection, fuzzy matching, clustering, these AI routines that we can quickly and easily put into the current process to get even more benefit out of AI. And then the other piece that's coming very soon is our agentic capabilities through Sensible AI agents, where not only will you be able to ask questions about your business using curated knowledge clusters that our customers can build as a repository to be able to get this data. We can also ask questions of the financial model. So for example, if I want to know my gross margin for a specific product back in September of 2023, without having to go back and look up a report or find it in the system, I can actually just ask this and I will get the answer in a narrative form from our sensible AI agent. So it will understand your finance model. It will also be able to look at all of the other data and perhaps gives reasons why that KPI that you're asking about is higher or lower based on the activity within the organization. So lots of cool stuff coming, lots of cool stuff we already have around AI. So when we talk about deployment strategies, I want to start with the traditional OneStream deployment strategy. So, being a platform, our customers have always set out and defined their journey. They define their scope. So maybe they start with scope 1, and then once they get through scope 1, through that infinite extensibility, we can add on the next thing and then add on the next thing. And so you're always able to do more within OneStream. And this is a real life example of one of our customers working with another one of our implementation partners, where over this 7 or 8 years here, we started out with close and consolidation. We got into some planning, we got into some operational dashboards. And so this was multiple pieces of work that were defined along the way to continue to drive more and more value out of the platform. So this is what we would consider like the traditional bespoke deployment of OneStream. But today we're offering multiple different options. So that bespoke methodology is what we would consider universal. It's 100% driven by the customer requirements. You will define what needs to get done and map that out along your OneStream journey. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have CPM Express. Now, CPM Express is a pre-packed design that's built for rapid deployment that it allows our customers to go live in as little as 8 to 12 weeks. This would be the fastest time to value without sacrificing any future extensibility. Now, the one in the middle here you see is Enterprise. Now, Enterprise is kind of a mix of both. CPM Enterprise is going to start with the Express foundation, but as part of that first deployment, it's going to go beyond the defined parameters of what we would consider in a CPM Express implementation. But the important thing to remember for any one of these is that whether you implement through the Express or the Enterprise or the Universal, the whole of OneStream is yours. There's nothing you can't do. You can continuously leverage that extensibility and do more and more on the platform. So from a technology perspective, you are not limited in any single one. This simply defines how fast you get there. So what is CPM Express? Well, it's an implementation accelerator. It is a pre-built application that contains actuals, consolidations, planning, reporting, account recs. It's built to go live within 8 to 10 weeks, and it contains pre-built components, best practices from our experts, as well as built-in training. It's future-proof. So we always say that CPM Express is not a destination. It's not something you're going to implement and then be good with. I mean, you can be, but really we think of it more as a starting point. You're going to start with CPM Express, and then you're going to continuously grow your CPM environment as your business needs change, as you scale. So what are the key benefits? Well, one, it's going to greatly improve time to value, getting a full CPM application off the ground in 8 to 10 weeks. It's a simplified implementation project that has a known deliverable that you can know exactly what to expect. It still has that extensibility where you can continuously add on to that through solution exchange solutions or through building on the platform yourself. And you're also going to gain the best practices that have been time tested by many of our customers. So here is a slide that just outlines what you can expect in a CPM Express implementation. Now, on the left side is everything that we would consider that could get done within that 8 to 10 week time span. So it's going to include actuals and consolidation. There are 2 out of the blocks planning cycles, the monthly forecast and the annual budget. And these include the slide says 10, and I keep meaning to change it, but it's 13 different planning methods that you can use for that forecast and budget cycle. There's going to be included data integration up to 5 flat files or 1 direct connect, a training package, and then everything else is kind of things that you would get as part of that. So 6 KPIs, 5 defined user dimensions, a flexible predefined account structure on which all of the built-in reporting and dashboards are built off of. And so down below are things that have proven to be optional, but they still would be included in that 8 to 10 weeks. And that includes a cash flow process, allocations that you can attach to either your close process or your budget process, depending on how you want to use that. And then an account reconciliation implementation, more of a lighter account recs, where we're focusing only on local currency and by entity account only. However, as part of the logical next steps for where to go after this workstream 1, the full deployment of our account recs could be something that the customer would want to pursue. In addition to that, some other logical next steps would be something like alternate chart of accounts they want to use for different types of reporting, maybe for management, additional integration methodologies, new reports, new KPIs, marketplace solutions added. So whatever the customer wants to do, we are able to help them do that. So with that, what I want to do is I'm going to jump out of my slide deck and go into CPM Express and just walk you through the application a little bit to kind of give you an idea for what you can expect in that 8 to 10 week deployment. So when I come into CPM Express, I am met here with my home page. It provides me a user interface to navigate to the part of the platform that I need to go to. So up at the top, I can get into my consolidation. I can get into my budget reporting, my forecast, or my budget forecast, and even some flash reporting as well. I have KPIs down at the bottom that I can use. I can update. These can be unique to the KPIs that I need to see, and these can be easily tweaked through our Genesis build methodologies. So when it comes to consolidation, I'm going to come into consolidation and walk you through this. Now, here we can see basically what we've always seen through a one-stream process. We have our workflows. We have our periods. January and February have been closed and locked, and we are currently working on closing the month of March. So the first step would be through importing our data. Now, in this demonstration, as I said, we're going to be loading a couple of flat files, but there is opportunity for direct connects and other implementation or integration methodologies as well. So I'm going to load in my trial balance here for my South group. I'm also able to load in supplemental data. So for example, as part of my close, I also want to bring in data from both my CRM that contains sales data, as well as data from my HR system, which is going to contain headcount data. I can bring that in as part of the same process. So I'm bringing all of that data in. You can see that my sources that I brought in are going to be itemized here. Here's the trial balance that I just loaded first, and then my CRM and HR payroll data. Now, with any of these, I can always go back and look at the source document. So I can see exactly what we loaded. Here's a simple trial balance file with our accounts, cost centers, descriptions, balance. And so this is set up as a data source, which OneStream understands how to read and understands how to cut off the headers and the footers and parse these out to this stage table that you see here. So now that we've built our stage, now we want to start the data quality piece, where we're going to validate what we've brought in. This is where we're really making sure that we understand everything that's brought in thus far, applying any transformation rules, and kicking out any exceptions. Now, in this case, we do have an exception. There was a source value on that account that we didn't recognize. So in a lot of worlds, this would require a call to IT, where I would have to have them make a mapping rule to get whatever source account this was from whatever system mapped to whatever I need it to be in OneStream. But OneStream has a unique approach where we have the data quality engine built right into the platform, and that allows finance to go in and address these exceptions as needed, since they do have a better understanding of what's actually happening here. So I know that this, for example, is a petty cash account. So I'll go ahead and search the applicable account dimension. I'll set that as the target and I will save it. That's going to do two things. One, it's going to clear this error and allow me to move along in this workflow. But it's also going to create a mapping rule. So next time I see that again, we'll know what to do with it. Now we're in the process step. This is where we're first starting the process of consolidation. Now, when it comes to consolidation, during that standard consolidation phase, we're doing a number of things. Let me see if I can show here. So this is kind of our consolidation journal or dimension here. So this kind of walks you through the steps of what we do when we consolidate. First, we take in the local currency, then we translate to the parent currency. We can do any owner pre-adjustment journals, take the share of the parent, get into intercompany eliminations, and then any post-adjustment journals as well. So every time we do a consolidate, we're kind of running through this process, making sure everything is where it needs to be. While we're in the process step here, I'll also notice one of those things we saw was around intercompany. So OneStream has out-of-the-box financial intelligence that that really is just kind of built so that customers don't have to build their own logic and business rules around some of these things. So one of those items is intercompany eliminations. It's its own dimension within OneStream. All you need to do is really flag accounts as an intercompany account, provide to it a balance account, and we will do all of those intercompany eliminations and reporting automatically. So for example, now that we've run that first consolidation for this, I can take a look and I can see my entity here. I believe it's my Houston entity. It's showing me my unbalanced amount. It's showing me like who that is with. In this case, it's two different partners. And I can come down below and see which partners they are. So I have my two entities showing me where the matches and the mismatches are. And so here I'm able to do an analysis. I can even do commentary on here to have conversations with my intercompany trading partners about these things that are happening. And then the last step to this particular workflow is going to be the confirmation step. This is where customers can ask questions of their data. So in this case, we're simply asking if the balance sheet balance, but there are a handful of out-of-the-box confirmation rules that can be applied. You also have the ability to create your own and do this. This is really just going to ask and make sure that everything is up to snuff. Everything is working out so far where we are in this current process. So the next thing as it relates to consolidation would be through our input forms. Now there are out-of-the-box forms as well. In this case, I'm walking through simply just one of them. And also these can be built to the specifications as well. So if you need to augment or enrich data with forms entry, they simply can be added here and added in as part of the overall month-end close workflow. So this is simply just going to kind of give us an idea of the movement. We have the beginning balance for some different PPE categories, so land at cost, buildings at cost. We have activity that's happened throughout the month that we were able to pick up, from either the operational data that we're bringing in or financial data that's bringing in. And then we have our ending balance. So here we can see that for the majority of these, there is no remaining difference. We're balanced based on everything that's happened throughout the period. However, for land at cost and buildings at cost, we do have a little bit of a disparity here. So in this case, I happen to know this is something that belongs to disposals. So I can go and just fill in my form, basically tell OneStream like what this different, like what the reason for this difference is, and then save it. And then we will complete both the form and the workflow, getting us through the forms process. So the CPM Express is also built for each one of these, whether it's the forms or adjustments. We're going to run the consolidation after that as well, so that we can take in the new data and account for it in the overall consolidation step. And then once again, another confirmation step to make sure everything from a forms perspective is good. Make sure that there's no remaining balances, for example. Now, journal entries are another thing that you can do within OneStream. So you are able to build in journals right from templates, the ones that will hit every month and you're able to go and run, or you can have them external. So for example, I have my intercompany journals, 2 of them built within an Excel template. Now, this is going to be a journal talking about the intercompany transactions that we just looked at where there was a mismatch. So I'm going to be posting both of these, and I'll just do it through a quick post in this case. However, there's a whole workflow assigned to this as well, where you can have posting, approvals, rejections, etc. So I will post my 2 journals from my Excel template. And then once again, we will run the consolidation one more time. And so that leaves us in the last step, which is allocations. Now, this is a allocation solution that's comes with CPM Express, and it's going to allow you to create different allocation rules that are going to enable you to take from one source and then allocate it down to a target based on whatever driver that you decide. So for example, if I look at my interest expense rule here, I'll open up the edit so I can get a better look at it. This is a rule we've created. It's around interest expense. We've given the description interest expense by head count. We can define the time period for which this rule is accounting for. We're defining the scenario. In this case, we're doing actuals, but it could be just as easily be in budget or forecast. And then giving it some other details as well. Now, this is the key component here. Here we're defining the source, and this is simply a POV of all of the different dimensions that are built kind of into this model. And so what you see here is we're taking our account 55,000 here. That's where we're allocating from. We're also allocating from basically the top level member of UD1, which is our cost centers. So we're taking it basically out of the bucket that contains all of our cost centers. We are allocating it by, in this case, headcount, which we use a headcount account for, and we're allocating it down to the base level members of that cost center. So we're taking basically the high end or the total amount down to the different cost centers by budget. So these are the rules that can be set up quickly and easily. And then now I have the ability to execute all, and it's going to run these one at a time based on the execution order. So not only will I be able to run these as part of my process, I'm going to get some good analysis as well. So when I go into analysis, it will show me the lineage of how this happened. So here it's taking the source, which is, again, it's from the top level of the cost centers in the 55,000 account. Here's the drivers, which is representative of our head count. And now this is what ultimately we've allocated to each of these cost centers based on the drivers. So once I've gotten through my allocations, I'll just go ahead and complete this. And when I look at my month end for March, we've done everything. It's complete. It's complete. So if we want, we can add a certification step as well. I can also come to the top level for March, and I'm going to see some supplementary reporting here. So here I get a view of my financial results. So for example, if I want to look at, say, my balance sheet, I can choose the report group. And as you see, we have 5 out-of-the-box report groups. It's when it loads, I can show you. The balance sheet, external income statement, management P&L, cash flow, and supplemental reports. And each one of them can contain different reports as well as different column sets. So this one's showing me my balance sheet with a 12-month trend. This March 2025 is newly populated. This is all the information that we've just loaded in from this closed process. And now we get a comparison point month over month. If I want to look at, say, my income statement, I can do that. And I'll look at it without the discontinued operations. And here we see, again, a 12-month trend containing the information that we've just loaded. Now, one of the nice things about OneStream Period, being able to unify your actuals and your budget, is instant variance reporting. So for example, I have built-in column sets where I can compare 2 scenarios. So once I'm in guided reporting here, we're looking at our actuals. It's being compared to our budget, and I can see exactly where we are. Let's say I want to compare to a different forecast. Say I want to look at my forecast for the month of April that's coming up. Now I can see that we had the actuals, but we don't have the forecast because right now we're going to have to go in and build that forecast. So really good information directly, both right. I can access it right here as part of the close process, or I can access this from the reporting icon in that home screen I showed you. We're also going to get other dashboards around the close process. So here's one around intercompany, showing me all the intercompany activity that's happened for this month with any kind of commentary associated with it. We have areas for additional comment entry, an aggregation of the commentary around this period, and then a journal analysis as well. Okay, so I'm going to come back and talk a little bit about the planning process. Oops, within OneStream here. Let me jump back here. So first, what I want to do is I want to go into my forecast. And so when I come into the forecast, I can go into CD and I can take a look. Now, you noticed before in the report that we had no forecast numbers. That's because we haven't done it, and we need to start. Now, we don't have to start from zero. We can seed in data from other scenarios to get us started. So for this, we're going to be looking simply at our Houston entity. So here we have our forecast P&L for our Houston entity. It's completely blank now, but we're going to use seeding to actually populate this. And what this is telling me is that we're taking actuals from the periods that have already elapsed, and then we're going to populate the Q4 forecast with the data that we built last month in month 3, and we're doing it for Houston. So I'll go ahead and run this, and we'll see some data immediately populate. And Devinder or Ashley, if you see any questions that pop up as I'm going through this, feel free to interrupt, and I'm happy to answer them on the fly.
Yeah, there was one question actually related to the seeding, which instead of just a last month number, can we have some sort of average of the number of months or the last quarter average?
Yeah, those calculations could certainly be created to be able to seed it based on parameters that you define. So if you wanted to take like a rolling average of like the last 3 months, they certainly can be done.
Thank you.
Yep. So I'll go ahead and reload this, and here we have Houston. So now we have some forecast numbers. As I said, what you see here in month 1 through 3 are going to be the actuals, and going forward from month 4 on, we're going to get the forecast. Now, you probably noticed that overall, we're sitting on some pretty big negative numbers here. There's a reason for this, though, and it has to do with the drivers that we've selected, for the planning methods, I should say, that we selected for some of these line items that we have here. So as you can see that we have populated cost of revenues as well as operating expenses here, but we have not brought in revenues. And so let's take a look at what we need to do to get those revenues populated. And for that, I can come into the planning screen. And here I can select from different account groups. In this case, I'm just taking the net income available to common stockholders, where I can see like my revenues, my cost of sales, my operating expenses, et cetera. So as you can see here in the global method, by default, we've set the vast majority of these to be zero-based, where these numbers can be just populated as needed. However, as I mentioned, out of the box, we have 13 different planning methods that we can select. So here you'll see things like copying from different scenarios, planning like prior year actual month, trailing 12-month actuals, average salary by headcount, percent of salary. We have a number of ones that can be used right off the bat. So for example, our operating expenses is being pulled from prior year actual year total spread evenly. and the cost of revenues is going to be the trailing 12 months actuals. Now, this is the reason why they were able to populate that when we seeded it, because that's data that already exists. Whereas revenues, we're doing it in a driver-based price times volume. So because that came in as 0, I can see that I probably have to go and define my drivers, in this case, price and volume. So I can come into driver data. And this is where I can take a look to see, what exactly is going on here. So in this case, here's our product dimension showing me the products that we have by volume of sale. And you can see here for month 3, we have a sales volume, but if we look at month 4 and out, we have that as 0. So that's why we didn't get a revenue number. So I can change this now. I can update this. So I can do that in a number of ways. Like, for example, I can use the spreading functionality that exists within OneStream. So if I come in here, I can spread select cells. Let's say I just want to do a fill, and we'll just fill it as like 50,000. I'm not sure why, for some reason it worked and then didn't save. And I can go ahead and save that. The other thing I can do is directly built in, we have a spreadsheet view as well, which is going to be an in-platform spreadsheet functionality, very similar to Excel. That's going to enable me to kind of work just like I would in something like Excel. Now, in this case, I'll take the remaining number of these and I'll just drag it over for a copy. And then through the OneStream ribbon here, I can just go ahead and submit the whole thing, and it will update these drivers. Now, the other thing I can do here is look at my price, because we're doing a price times volume. And when I look at my price, same deal. I can see that we have a price for our products in March, but we do not have one for April and beyond. So I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. And I'm going to populate that pricing model here directly through the end of the year, and then submit this.
So
Now,
there's a question came up that, we update our pricing on a quarterly basis, and then we update pricing for from outside Excel file from all the products at the same time. Is something like that. Obviously, we can upload those from outside Excel file as well.
absolutely. So I'm doing it manually here. I mean, I could update this manually within the OneStream platform, but like you could create a data import that feeds in your ever-changing pricing data, if you like, that would populate into this process, and you wouldn't have to do what I'm doing here.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead, because I populated my drivers for both price as well as volume. I'm going to run this. And so what it's going to do, it's going to take those drivers, it's going to do the calculation. And when I return to seeding, and look at my Houston entity once again, now you'll see those numbers are a little bit different. They're not negative anymore, and that's because we now have revenue numbers to compare them to. So one other thing that we can do here is kind of a what if modeling scenario. So now that we have an established number, we can look at our different accounts, say our revenue account, and we can look at, say, all right, let's create a campaign. Maybe it's going to be a marketing campaign, maybe, or maybe it's some kind of risk or something you want to associate. I can create one. In this case, we're looking at, generically named new campaign effective March 2025. Down below, you define what it would affect. So this would affect our Houston region only. It's going to affect our revenues account, and then it's going to affect, basically this is saying all cost centers, geographies, products, customers. You can certainly update these. So for example, if it's a promotion around one single product, then this might name a product instead. And so what you're able to do is give it an impact. So let's just say for this different combination of our dimensional data, it's going to have a 5% impact. So when I save this and then go into review, I can calculate it. So it'll take the current forecast that we have just created. It'll take, in this case, just that one campaign, but it could be as many campaigns as you like, and it will do the calculation to tell you if those campaigns go off one way or another, what's the what if going to look like? What's it going to look like from an overall revenue standpoint if those all get executed? So a nice scenario modeling ability directly from here. And if you decide to move forward with some of the decisions around those campaigns, then we simply can take these numbers and then put them into our revenue forecast through an adjustment. So once we're done with the forecast, now I can come in, I can do a full review, I can complete the workflow, lock it in. So now we have our locked month 4 forecast that we can start doing any kind of variance with both budget as well as the actual scenarios. So a couple other things about CPM Express, just to talk about. It does come with account recs as well, so you're able to do our account reconciliations as part of that close process, as well as Task Manager, which is an itemized way to look at the end of the month to say, okay, here are all the things that need to get done, by whom, when they're due, and so it takes all of those month-end processes and kind of itemizes them for the users. There's built-in help as well, meaning I can come in, I met with a help desk where I can submit tickets for either my local admin or my partner who's doing managed services. We have links to all of the wonderful OneStream global education resources, whether it's the end user training around CPM Express to the full Navigator training hub. We even have links to some of the publications that OneStream has put out. So our foundations handbooks, our book on planning, our financial close. So tons of resources for the OneStream user to come in and really understand, how the platform works. So with that, given the time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to any other questions that we have.
Please feel free to type the questions in the Q&A section. In the meantime, there are a couple of other questions, Steve. We have our, can we do the workforce planning in the CPM Express?
So not as a initial, it's not part of the initial implementation of CPM Express. However, and I actually did have one more slide here to show. This is where you can take advantage of that extensibility within OneStream to do more. So these are things that that you could potentially do once you've gotten the CPM Express implementation completed. You can add in solution exchange solutions like workforce planning, people planning, or transaction matching. Maybe you want to add in an integrated business planning cycle to your OneStream environment, or take advantage of some of the AI capabilities that we have. So while people planning isn't part of the initial one, we certainly can add that as part of a next step.
Okay, and are there any pre-built reports in CPM Express, and can we add our own reports?
Yeah, that comes with a ton of pre-built reports, all made possible through a pre-configured chart of accounts. But as I showed you, and I'll jump back in here, through reporting, we leverage guided reporting, multiple report groups, multiple different reports within each one of these groups, and then like 40 different column sets to be able to see those reports in different views. So I think I left off here when I was showing my close, but here's an income statement. One where this column set is designed to do 2 different scenarios, but I can look at my gap, I can look at my 12-month trend, I can look at current month versus prior year. So all types of different ways that we can take the reports in these groups and extrapolate them differently to see comparisons, to see different information. So all of this is built in, and it's leveraging the pre-configured chart of accounts that we use.
Thank you, Steve. There's another question, is that we have a different chart of accounts from our different companies for the consolidation perspective. Do we need to map those outside of the OneStream, or we can map the chart of account within the OneStream when we load data?
Yeah, so you'll want to use the OneStream. So as I mentioned, it's a 3-tiered chart of accounts. So we created a very kind of generic summary chart of accounts where it's like things like revenues, for example. And then we have what we call a reporting chart of accounts where, we're getting into a little bit more detail, like trade revenues, discounts, et cetera. And so what we what we do in a CPM Express deployment is we take your chart of accounts and we make sure that your accounts are basically children under these reporting accounts, so that we can use your accounts how you need to, but then it can also leverage the built-in reporting coming from that corporate reporting layer. So it wouldn't need to be mapped per se. We simply would just need to build out your accounts where they belong in the pre-configured chart of accounts.
Right. And also when we load the data from the different chart of accounts, they could be mapped to then one chart of account, which is set it up in the CPM Express.
That's correct. Once you have that established one-in-one stream, then you could, let's say you're working with a second ERP and want to map it, then all the mapping can be done within one stream.
Right. Perfect. There's another question just came up that is there any limit of number of currencies can be used in CPM Express?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, OneStream has the capability to be multi-currencies. I do think that, you know, a lot of times when it comes to multi-currency, that's going to be indicative of a greater complexity in the setup. And so I think if, you know, it may be a case where we'd have to take a look at the overall complexity of like the entity structure, et cetera, which might, you know, make you not a great fit for CPM Express. But if simply adding currencies to the application, that should be no problem.
Great. I don't have any other questions. If anybody have any questions, please feel free to type in the Q&A section. Otherwise, you know, I would say thank you so much for attending the CPM Express webinar. Maybe Steve, you can share our contact information. If you have any questions or would like to know more, and please feel free to reach out.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. We will close this call.